It's the Mark Thompson Show.
This is Mark Thompson.
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
I offer this sincere apology to you today.
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel.
No context will suffice to explain the hurt and anguish caused by my words.
Calling me a liar. Is that what you calling me?
You are a cover-up artist and you are a liar.
You know what, Hal? You created
I did everything
havoc
right
and
and they
chaos.
indicted me.
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box, and Little Anthony.
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel.
I come from regular stock.
What's a guilty pleasure you have?
Can you let him finish, sir?
Why are you yelling?
It's fantastic.
Seriously, what the f***? Did you really just do that?
It's a great pleasure to welcome in somebody to our show whose roots go really back to the early days of rock and roll and R&B in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm talking about the 1950s. I mean, it's really, he is a treasure.
Yeah.
Right out of Marin County, right, Kim? You bump in. It's the only reason John's on is because of you, Kim.
Well, I went to a piano recital, and he was introduced at the very end, and I thought, this guy is incredible. We have to have him on the show. And he played a holiday song, and I thought it would be perfect for this time of year. So, and who knew he's a big time Marin musician, national musician, actually. And now he lives right in my hometown here in Petaluma.
Well, he has recorded or crossed paths from his website, this information, and then we'll bring him on. But I want you to know this, how distinguished a guy he is. He's recorded or crossed paths with John Lee Hooker, Huey Lewis, Elvin Bishop, Maria Muldaur, Tom Waits, B.B. King, Big Mama Thornton, Lloyd Price, Joan Baez, Steve Miller, Charlie Brown, Charles Brown, Johnny Otis, Louis Belson. Wow. I mean, these, artists go way back, some more contemporary. Jimmy Witherspoon, just unreal. Bonnie Raitt, Sammy Hagar. I mean, listen to this. Taj Mahal, Chris Isaac, Boz Scaggs. Come on, Buddy Guy. Give it a big round of applause. John Allair, everybody. Come on, John. Welcome to the show.
Howdy.
What an honor.
Yeah.
You were born and raised right in the Bay Area, weren't you?
Oakland, yeah.
Yeah. How did you get into the music scene the way, I mean, this is an extraordinary body of work and collaboration you've had.
Well, it all started at Mosswood Park in Oakland. I hung around with this guy that played a little piano, and he showed me 3 chords. That was the beginning of my career. I was like 12 years old and, moved to Marin and went on from there. I don't know, just lucky.
Was that when you say you're taught 3 chords and then that's the spark that ignites this fire in you to learn more, to create more, to riff more, I mean, to collaborate more?
Well, that's the basis of all the blues and rhythm and blues, the 3 basic chords, you go from there. I mean, yeah, and go on your own from there. So that's all you need to know to play the blues anywhere in the world.
You were jamming with some of the biggest names in the history of R&B and rock and roll. Take me through some of that. I mean, did it all just happen at such an early age? Were you a teenager when all this was going on?
Well,
seems like you would have had to have been.
In the teenage years, I was, I had my own rock and roll band in San Rafael High School. Nobody else was playing. This was like 56. Nobody was playing this kind of music then in Marin.
It was all doo-wop back then in the 50s?
What's that?
Was it all doo-wop then? What was the music? You say nobody was playing this.
No, it was Lucky Lager dance time. It was pop.
I see.
Rhythm and blues was what it was called, was only on a half hour a day in Oakland. There was no black music to the national, and nobody knew about it. So that was the very beginnings of it. I started listening like 1953 to KWBR, which became KDIA later, and they were playing that stuff, And I used to play along with the records.
You, on your website, just kind of describing your background, you mentioned that your mom took you to get lessons, I believe. Isn't that right?
Yeah, from a friend of the family who played trumpet with Ernie Hexer's band. He was kind of a Nazi, So lessons, I had to mow his lawn once a week, and then he gave me lessons, which were both very unfriendly things to do for me. So I opted out of that and just went on my own.
But the R&B thing, I mean, as you say, it was not being done by a lot of people, and you really had an abiding interest in this world of rhythm and blues. And then you did cross over into pop music. I mean, you took on other music, rock and roll music, if you will. And that was really, rock and roll was, again, just in its nascent stages back then, right?
Yeah, this was before Elvis when I was interested, and then all that stuff opened up and it went crazy. But then I sort of got out of that stuff, went to college and got a degree in music and got into jazz and classical music, later on. But the early stuff always stayed with me. I still love it the most.
This is a personal fascination of mine, so but I love to hear about this world of performance and live performance, which I feel just had probably an even more a greater dynamic maybe than it does today. Like you could find more live music places, I think, back in those early days. You could find more hole-in-the-wall spots. You could find more big venues. Maybe this is just my sense of it, romanticizing about, a part of time that I wasn't really, I don't have a window on. But can you describe to me what it was like both in the Bay Area in your life as you were making your way through these early days of rock and roll?
Well, we used to play for school dances and rallies and sock hops, and that was it. We get out of school early to go play at a sock hop. But it was about dancing, man. Rock and roll was about dancing. It wasn't about sitting there looking at somebody. It was all about dancing, communal dancing, So that's what we played in a lot of bars where everybody was dancing.
Were there more venues where you could hear music than there are today, or was it about the same?
Way more in San Francisco, Berkeley, Oakland. Yeah, a lot more. But I was just lucky to be raised in Oakland around the blues. There was a lot of blues going on there. Mm-hmm. People transported from New Orleans and stuff. So I got exposed to all that. Maybe wouldn't have had that influence anywhere else if I would have lived in LA or something. I don't know. But yeah, that turned me on a lot. It just seemed normal to me at the time.
Again, you talk about sort of leaving the world of R&B or becoming equally excited about this other world, this rock and roll world. And take us through then how your career evolved. You're saying you then got into classical music and jazz music. So you have all of these different areas in which you're excelling at the time. Just what was your life back then? Were you just going gig to gig, or how did you define yourself then?
Well, I was playing at the bowling alley in San Rafael 6 nights a week and going to San Francisco State College to get my degree. But to go back a little, the early rhythm and blues music was really kind of an inside thing. Was really hip and cool. Then rock and roll kind of dumbed it down, I thought. So I got disinterested in that, with all the rock and roll. Until later, I got into the Beatles later stuff and all that. But originally, I didn't think anybody could play that well. And so I got into classical, studying classical and playing some jazz, Miles Davis, Jimmy Smith, and so forth,
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry, nothing.
No, I'm just fascinated because your work has, allowed you to swim in so many different streams. I'm just wondering, what streams were most exciting at what time in your life? You graduated then SF State, right? And then what happens?
Then I went on the road and joined a couple of bands. I went to Los Angeles and made an album and got absorbed in the LA scene.
Was your album a rock and roll album?
Yeah, it was with a band called Pure Love and Pleasure on Dunhill Records. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a real record company.
69 or so. Yeah. It didn't do that well, but it was fun. Yeah, that was pretty. Kind of went downhill. They wanted us to be another Mamas and Papas. It didn't work out for them.
So the bands that were hot at the time were Mamas and Papas. Was that the time of like Donovan and I'm just trying to think of who was hot. But was it the mid '60s? Is that, or what is that?
It was the late '60s. Yeah,
late '60s. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to think of the bands on the chart. So yeah, I feel as though it was probably. Wasn't Creedence coming up then, and all of those bands?
Yeah, all was happening.
Yeah.
But I didn't really wasn't that interested. But I guess I came back to Marin from New York and played the lion's share, and that's when I met Van Morrison, opened the show for Van, and that started a 50-year association with him.
Wow.
And I've been doing it 2 months ago, so you never know.
The standout performers and writers in your history that you've come in contact with that just sort of blew you away, or you went, wow, that person's really got it. It's probably too long a list, but I'm wondering if you could relate a couple that might have stood out in your memory.
Well,
obviously Van Morrison, right? I mean,
he's unique, and I think Jimmy Smith, the organ player, that really turned me on. Miles Davis as an entrepreneur and the bands he had, that really was exciting. And I was really into Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah,
influence.
As a promising young guy, Johann Sebastian Bach.
I really liked it a lot. I still do. I still try to play it every day. I work at it,
Is Bach the one with the fugues?
Yep, a lot of fugues, man.
Okay. That's about all I know. I'm out of Bach knowledge now. How cool then. So you kind of return to classical even as you're doing the Van Morrison thing.
Always. It's always been in my life, classical. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kim.
I saw Mr. Allair perform today, and I was overcome by I don't know another word for it, maybe bravado. It's like he walks to the piano, and before he even sits down, he kind of looks at the crowd, and something incredible is about to happen. Like there's just this swagger, this confidence, and then he sits down and he starts playing, and he'll look up and smile, and he just lets it rip. I mean, it's incredible, the experience.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah.
You need that as a performer, though, what Kim's talking about. You need that confidence, right? Even if you're nervous, you need to exude confidence and make the stage your own, yeah?
Yeah, when I get in front of the audience, the showboat in me kicks in, You like to show off and get approval, and be good at your craft, but you want to relate with an audience. That's the missing ingredient. You got to have the audience behind you and play something relatable,
I feel as though the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, is particularly good as a place to incubate music. Is that just my sense of things, or was that your experience as well?
I never thought about it, but if I was in Montana or somewhere else, I don't know. Yes, it sure is multicultural, all kinds of influences.
Exactly right.
Creative, area has always been, and Oakland even, really a lot going on in Oakland.
No, I mean, especially Oakland, maybe. But I think, wow, you wouldn't have been exposed to all that R&B music, and it wouldn't be so much in your blood were it not for Oakland and all of those great clubs that and all that great music you were exposed to.
There was a guy on the radio back in 1953. It was called KWBR. Now it became KDIA. They were playing R&B, like I say, a half hour a day, and the DJ was Jumpin' George. Jumpin' George, it was my hero. So I walk down to the studio by Lake Merritt and stand in front of the studio through the glass and watch him work. Yeah.
Oh, said, that's great.
You shouldn't hang around here much. I might say something weird or something.
Yeah. It reminds me of that scene in American Graffiti where they go down to to see what Wolfman Jack was about. Boy, Fats I'm just reading about Fats Domino was on the radio at the time, and Fats Domino was Fats Domino a keyboard player as well, or?
Oh yeah, and singer and songwriter.
Yeah,
one of my main guys in my life, man. Still is.
Is that right? That's so good. What do you mean it still is? Is Fats Domino still around?
No, but I mean, I listen to his music and
I see. Okay, good.
All the time.
Yeah, it's a touchstone. I see. Yeah. Boy, such legends. I mean, Buddy Guy, Elvin Bishop, Taj Mahal. Wow. And then Van Morrison. How old is Van now? He's in his 80s, yeah?
No, I think he's like 78-ish.
Okay. And he is still amazing, isn't he?
Man, he channels it through, you know?
Yeah.
You know, he lets it come through some real creative moments. I just did a tour with him a couple of months ago, East Coast and West Coast. So it was, it's always exciting.
I'll bet. Does anybody open for Van Morrison, or is he just go on by himself?
His daughter.
Oh, wow. Is that right?
Piano open mostly. Yeah, Taj Mahal opened a show for him in LA last month too. Yeah. Yeah, he has a few openers. I opened shows for him myself.
That's really, really great. Really, really great. Well, Kim heard you play these beautiful classical pieces and thought it would be great for you to come on, and I'm so glad she did, because had she not reached out to you in the moment, we would have lost a great opportunity. Now, Kim, what were you saying about, you think that he could play something for us now, some holiday?
I was hoping that he could play. What did you play earlier? You played something that I thought might be not copyright protected.
Well, it's just a variation on the standard song, We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
If it's a variation, you can probably get away with it. We can try it.
Is opportunity a ding word?
It's good.
Yes,
absolutely.
Wow,
yes.
John. Well done.
So it's just a variations on those chords. Anyway, every time I play it, it's different, so it won't be exactly the same.
We love it.
That's terrific. So I hope will we hear it, Kim? You think will we hear it, John, through the?
I hope so. We'll give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot. Okay. Let's give John Allair, everybody. Let's go for it. Anytime you're ready, sir. Okay. Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Wow, I love it. Come on. Come on. That was terrific. Wow.
Really good.
I am so envious of that magic that's inside you, pal. That it just comes from a place I'm so in awe of where that comes from and how you're able just to do it. I mean, as you say, it's never the same, when you do it performance to performance. Gosh, really exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Yeah. John Allair, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff. And please come visit with us again in the new year, pal.
All right, bud. Good to see you all.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
really enjoyed it. John Allair, everybody. Good stuff.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.